Hi, welcome to Gemstone Tarot. Just testing the microphone's working. 15th, Tuesday the 15th of July 2025, and we have such a lot going on outside the window. So, and this is weird, unbeknownst to me, there's been about 6 or 7 people staying in the hotel. They've got 2 dogs. 2 dogs, which are, I'm going to say, what do they call those really curly dogs that are very enthusiastic? When they're a mixture, not a Labradoodle, but you know, a poodle, something poodle cross thing. Cavapoo, might be a Cavapoo, something like that. They look very nice, but I didn't know they were there either. And then we've got like generations of family, so it could have been a wedding possibly, could have been a wedding over the weekend and stuff. And we have some interesting attire, so I don't think they're British. Like, we have a guy who's wearing a full suit, but he's wearing a baseball cap. Now that wouldn't happen if he was British. I don't know why. I'm trying to listen to them. He looks pretty cool. They all do. They've all got nice gear on. And all the women have got, like, you know how people could sometimes wear flimsy cardigan-y things, but they're posh. I never have access to these things because I cannot accessorise, but they do, and they've done their hair and they've got proper handbags. You know, it's all quite well to do. So there you go, that's what's going on outside. And then there was another guy who I think was doing a bee rescue with one of those little bee rescue kits. I know. I must get one of these bee rescue kits. My friend has got one, but I could see him grovelling about in the street, and I just got the impression he was doing a bee rescue. It could, of course, have been like cleaning up poo or something, and I'm just being romantic about it. Anywho, Moon is in Pisces, if you can't tell by my babbling already. And I did watch the men's final. It was pretty good. It wasn't a classic. White butterfly there. It wasn't a classic. You know, as in when we used to have Djokovic, Nadal and all that kind of stuff. But it was pretty good. I'm just looking what tarot I'm going to use for today. I was going to use this, but it doesn't feel right. Hang on. Oh, yes. Oh, no, it's not in there. Yes, sparkly stars and shimmers and whatnot. So I watched the men's final. Went round to Mum's house around the corner and watched it there, so that was good. And then I watched the Club World Cup, which is football, or is it really? It's football, and it's like, it's in America, so I want to know if any of you have been watching it. But it's got some British teams in it, and it was the final, and Chelsea Football Club, who are from London, they won it. Pretty emphatically, because they're Chelsea, Cole Palmer, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's really normal. I'm a big football fan, my whole family big football fans. We go to live matches, you know, the whole bit. And football in the UK is a really strange mix of very, very ordinary things. Like, you have the FA Cup, and this will happen that you will get like a Premier League team where everyone's being paid gazillions, will go to some tiny weeny town where there's a football club that can barely pay the tea lady, and they'll go and meet the tea ladies. You know, Jurgen Klopp did it, and came to our local, you know, crappy club or whatever, and, you know, got involved with everyone and met the people, and they do that. And then you have to play the game, and it will be televised, and they'll virtually have nowhere to put the camera, you know, and it's scruffy and ordinary, and the players are quite normal, even though they're being paid zillions on one side of it. So normally, you know, you do the football and then they would win, and then maybe if it's a really big deal like the FA Cup or something, Prince William might hand out the trophy. But it's very understated. Like, he might bring his son, but he looks like a kind of everyman in the crowd. You know, he's not flanked by loads of people or anything like that. And you know, and they shake hands and they have a giggle and they pop some champagne and, you know, they chuck it all over the manager's head. But this one, Chelsea win, and then they're lining them up, and then they wheeled out Donald Trump. And he did like the medal thing, And then there's a tradition when you win that you get hold of this trophy, and this trophy was like, like the FA Cup's traditional. It's kind of this old, beautiful trophy. This thing came out, this sort of garish, massive gold, spherical, looked kind of astrological, to be honest. Came out and they gave it to, I think, Cole Palmer, actually, like one of the players, probably, or they gave it to Reece James, the captain. And normally, you know what it's like, they hold it up, all the guys jump up and down, they pop a load of those paper things, woohoo, we won. And Donald Trump got amongst the team as this was happening, which is not what you do at all. Like, you give them the trophy, you step away, and you let the lads go mad, you know, champagne thing, whatever they're going to do. They pass it round to each other, they kiss it, all that stuff. Often in the UK, they'll have their kids on the pitch as well. So you get Donald Trump in the middle of all these young lads, and he's not jumping up and down, and they are jumping, and he's kind of awkwardly It was the weirdest thing. And if anybody saw it, what did you reckon? I didn't know what to make of it, except that there's been a threat in the UK that we're going to end up having a Super League. And I really hope we don't, because football in the UK is a grassroots sport. I know the money is, I see I'm hectoring now about football, the money is ridiculous at the top, but the top is only a bit of it. And the thing about football is, you know, that it has over tennis actually, is that anybody from any background can get a ball and kick it around in a field. Tennis, you tend to get people who've got more money doing it. So I just hope we don't get to the point where we've got that kind of razzmatazz. Because it was, and the English players that were doing it, or the Chelsea players that were doing it, they looked really awkward. It was really a bit awkward. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Anyway, I've banged on now. Banged on about football. I can do that. Okay. Moon in Pisces. So you may be drifting in from subjects here, drifting in from subjects there. Actually, I'm not reading reverse. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the reversals. Not feeling the reversals. Okay. We've got the Five of Swords. Venus in Aquarius, which I quite like the reverse meaning of, but I wasn't feeling it. Venus in Aquarius is often a sense of detachment from being fully emotionally involved in something, but I actually don't get that as a negative thing. I get this as an instruction that says whatever your situation is, you may be too close to it at the moment, and a little bit of, well, a little bit of this, because we have the Queen of Swords. A little bit of detachment is no bad thing, as long as it's kind of a healthy detachment. For example, if you are spending time with someone and you feel like they're really draining you, and they're not someone you're like caring for or something, you know, there's someone you have an option to not always be with, it might be time to not be with that person for a little while, and to set up a boundary so that you're not being plugged into and, you know, drained by somebody. It could be on a more macro level, and I can totally understand this, and I am someone who does this, that you don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. I take everything off my... It's hard not to watch the news, because, you know, the news is being pushed on you at lots of different angles. And I'm not saying I'm right and anyone else is wrong. It's just, for me, I can't watch something unless I'm going to do something about it. And chances are I'm not going to do something about all of the things I'm seeing around the globe. So I don't watch the news, and I take it off all of my media of any kind, so it can't pop up on anything and surprise me with some hideous thing that I can never forget. So it could be that you set up a boundary around that, or whatever your thing is. Some people like to watch the news, they like to stay informed, and it doesn't do that to them. But there will be something else for you. We have this energy of the Five of Wands, which is almost as if I used to look after children for a living, and that was a time when I didn't have any. So, of course, you're not really used to how that is. And I'd be looking after them because they were in local authority care. So chances were, like, I'd be doing a day trip. We'd go somewhere with a colleague or whatever, and we'd take maybe 5 kids or something to a park or a place where you could go on things, you know, for a day trip, for respite care or whatever. And it was very much like that. The thing that I learned about it pretty quickly was that I couldn't leave anything to chance. A bit like looking after a pack of dogs, isn't it? You have to anticipate what's going to happen. So in other words, we were given a car. I couldn't just say, come on, let's get in the car. Because the fights that would happen over who ran shotgun, who went in the back, who wasn't old enough, who needed a seat because they weren't tall enough, all of that, you had to have it so mapped out. Particularly for these children, because they maybe had come from places where there were no boundaries at all. So it would be, because this happened last time, or because you ate your breakfast, or because they cleaned up this or whatever, Jim Bob is going in the front seat, you're going there, ding, 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 let's go. If we're not doing this within 2 or 3 minutes, we're not going to be able to go. And everybody would know where they belonged and would go and do it. And this would happen for every single thing you did. So whether you were going to play baseball with them, whether you were going to take them on a ride or whatever, who went first, who got the most attention, all of that needed to be carefully managed so everybody could have a good day and have an equal amount of attention and felt like they'd come away with something positive. And also they hadn't degenerated into some kind of massive violent fight, which it did do sometimes. So think of that for the 5 of Wands as well. And there's something here about untangling. It could be your WhatsApp group, it could be your family group, it could be your own head. There's something here about taking the 5 of Swords, finding some mental clarity, unraveling the 5 of Wands, and next to it we get the 6. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, or vegan alternative. It may not be that it's an enormous achievement, but actually the little things really do add up. And the little things are the big things. And the big things are the little things. You know what I'm saying. We then have the Page of Pentacles, which is about making slow progress, but making progress. And the Knight of Wands, which is about passion and things entering the frame that are a little bit uncontrollable. And that's life, because life is quite uncontrollable. But we can anticipate our own foibles, idiosyncrasies, other people's, and we can put in place the appropriate boundaries, detachment, attachment, whatever feels like the best way of doing it for you. Okay? Oof, we got there in the end. Do share this reading, please, on your social media if it really resonated, or give it a thumbs up. All of these things really help it get out onto YouTube. Do check out the Gemstars. I've just done a 3-card pick a card love reading, which was rather good actually, I have to say. You can join in the link below, or there might be a join button on my channel. There should be, but you never know actually with YouTube. And do check out the description box for my High Priestess, pick a card reading, which was hot and trending. And I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.